With so many efforts to fight anti-Asian hate, there are still a lot of people within the API community struggling with their own racial and cultural visibility among Asian people. We're talking about transracial adoptees. Transracial adoption is when a child of one race or ethnic group is adopted by a parent of another race or ethnic group. And in many cases, it's Asian kids and white parents. Korean adoptees like me made up that first big wave of international adoptees. In fact, there are roughly 250,000 KADs in the United States. It actually started in the 50s after the Korean War, when an Oregon couple named Harry and Bertha Holt went to Congress to change the adoption laws so they could raise 8 Korean children after the war. So I remember growing up thinking that was pretty cool, but now there's no war and adoption has grown to be a pretty big business. So now there is a lot of discussion within the adoption community. Do people want to be parents or do they want to be saviors? White saviorism is a real term. It's basically the notion that people of color need to be saved by more civilized and advanced white people.
This idea as if I can see my child as white with white privilege is not only dangerous, it's erroneous.
That's Jae-hee Chung Sherman, a licensed therapist and adoptee who specializes in transracial adoption. White saviors do more harm than good because they can minimize their kids' experiences or put them in an inferior role. The internet had an uproar when YouTuber Mika Stouffer gained a massive following partly for adopting her toddler son from China, only to scrub him from his site and eventually rehome him, which also raised awareness to rehoming people. Who knew that was legal? Then there was another adoptee, Adam Crapser. He was deported partly because his adoptive parents, who faced charges by the way of child abuse and sex abuse, didn't get his citizenship papers finalized. At the very least, white saviorism can lead to adoptees having a false sense of who they are.
And then the erasure, which is also bound up in saviorism, our collective narrative, that it is now then interspersed with this narrative that your life is American. That's all it is.
In a world where there is a growing amount of anti-Asian sentiment, it is critical for adoptees to be prepared for the world as it sees them. And that's going to take acknowledgement and work from both their families and the AAPI community.